We play for keeps, Cuddy. You ain't heard about the huddle fire with no with D-Lane. We tryna get it off the muscle. Walters caught the pick and ran it back without a tussle. Blow the whistle, coach is trying to get back to the huddle.
Welcome to the 510 Huddle Podcast. It's your boy, Coach D Lane, in the building with my guy and my brother, Keaton McCoy. Brother, we down to the last one, the big dance, man, the Super Bowl. I called this
Sadly.
one, I believe. You called this one as well, right? Oh, you had the Niners Chiefs, right?
I had the NFC Championship game, but
I need to go back
well,
and listen because I remember I was holding back a little bit. I may have not picked my Eagles to go the way. I think I picked the Niners as well. But in my heart, you guys know I had my Eagles, but I just didn't want
yeah,
to
of
put it on
course.
wax. So I need to go back and listen to our preseason pod. But I may have had the Niners too. But I know we had that same NFC Championship picture.
Yeah. I
Definitely.
mean, that was easy from day one. I mean, the NFC was pretty weak. Like I said, preseason, I didn't believe in the Rams. I didn't believe in the Bucks or Packers. So naturally, I just went with the two most talented rosters. So, and
Facts.
it played out that way.
Facts, man. So, given that we got 2 weeks, man, we got a lot of time to talk about the Super Bowl. We'll definitely probably record one with Zay, talk a little bit about the championship games and Super Bowl with him as well. But today, we're just gonna recap a little bit of the championship games, touch on some NFL news. Kellen Moore got picked up, some other guys, and then we can kind of tell you what we believe the Niners and the Bengals need to add for next in the offseason for next season. All right, but let's start here. Let's start with the NFC Championship, just because it wasn't as close of a game as we anticipated, and then we can touch on the Chiefs Bengals after. Brother, let's start with the Eagles and the Niners. My Eagles, man, versus the Niners. They come away with the victory at at home, 31-7. What did you see?
The Eagles did what they should have done. It sucks just as a fan. First off, let me say this: the Eagles were more than capable of winning that game straight up, no matter who was at quarterback. It could have been Trey Lance, could have been Jimmy, could have been Brock. It doesn't matter. The Eagles were more than worthy and more than good enough to win that game straight up. So let's start there. But just as a pure fan, it just sucks when that happens. So especially so early. Um, Josh Johnson going in and then basically in the end you're kind of surrendering the game by putting Brock back in. Honestly, I would have rather just have seen Christian or Debo in at Wildcat because at least I could have seen some exciting shit at the very least.
Brother, what was the one? I didn't see it. What was the one pass attempt C-Mac had?
Oh, it was like a double reverse or something like that,
Okay,
and
okay.
there was like nobody there,
So
so he
Brock
just
was in. Brock was in on that one.
yeah,
Okay, got
he
you.
just threw it away because there was like no one there and like nothing there for him to run. Basically, Eagles, they looked like the best team, and they did what they should have done. The only question mark I still have going forward is how healthy is Jalen Schroeder. I thought the 49ers, like they didn't really try to go after him. They tried to do more mush rushes, which is keep him in the pocket and not letting him have running lanes. Um, and from that perspective, he still doesn't look right. Um, so that's a question going forward. But hopefully, with these next 2 weeks, his shoulder can finally really start to look better. But other than that, the Eagles didn't show me a whole lot. They really took care of business.
Yeah, man, a lot to touch on from this game. Before I even dive in, I wanted to ask you what you thought about one angle that I see a lot of Niner fans bashing. My guy Josh Johnson, that's family right there from Oakland. My guy Josh, and just see a lot of Niner fans blaming
Yeah.
him for the loss. And you're a terrible fan, man. I'm sorry if you're blaming Josh for that loss. That's god awful. You're not a real fan. You're one of those fans that kind of look at players just as pure entertainment. You're forgetting the fact that Josh led y'all down on one of y'all only scoring drives. That was for one, and then for two, he fumbled the ball, but shit, Purdy fumbled the ball as well. So, And that O-line wasn't blocking for him, wasn't blocking for Purdy neither. So that was my take on that. I really just thought that was really uncalled for from some Niner fans that I seen, brother.
I mean, look, I don't expect much more from fans. I mean, that's what they are. They're fans. They are not rational. They take everything to heart. I will say this, yeah, it sucked that he just dropped a great snap. Um, that was a point in the game where they could have hung around more, but at that point with him in there, the result probably wouldn't have changed much. It just would have at least given them a chance to at least score some more points, at least three more, and make it somewhat interesting coming out of halftime, basically. But other than that, it didn't really have a huge impact on the game because at that point he couldn't really move it. Um, at that point, also, it was just 49ers defense was starting to wear down because of the offense being inept and they could not throw it. So, and at the end of the day, fans are going to be fans, and I don't expect much more. So that's basically it.
Yeah, man. And kind of just to piggyback on what you opened up with, I feel the same way. I believe I don't care who was at quarterback. My team had every opportunity and was good enough to win that game with or without Brock Purdy at quarterback. And the reason why I truly just don't give a fuck about the complaint and the excuses that I'm hearing from the Niner fans is I told them that he would get touched. Like I said he will get touched, and it's a great possibility after I seen how they played versus the Cowboys that I said they possibly will get blown out. I didn't want to go on record and say that because I had so much respect for Kyle Shanahan, that defense. I love watching the Niners just because of the physicality that they play with in their defensive approach. That's one of the reasons why I watched the Niners. So that's why I had so much respect and didn't want to say it would be a blowout. But I wouldn't, and I also said I wouldn't be shocked by that. But yeah, man, everything unfolded how I seen it. As far I didn't know we'll knock him out the game, but I said he'd get touched. He's been on a 7-game winning streak, hasn't faced a pass rush at all. That whole winning streak, the first time they did was versus the Cowboys, and he looked regular. He looked very ordinary, and he looked kind of regular versus the Seahawks when we kind of really look back at the tape. Great second half, really nice, solid second half. But for putting the totality of the game together, he looked solid. And then the next week versus the Cowboys, I thought he looked really average or probably even below average. And I knew we had a different type of pass rush. And I didn't know what type of pass rush we really had. Like I watched my team all year, but this week kind of cemented to me like how historically great we were, man. Because this is like I'm really thinking like I'm trying to combine last week and this week, brother. I haven't seen a pass rush this elite, and I think we're deeper than this pass rush. But since I seen that Giants pass rush the first time around with Eli when they beat the Bucks, when they beat Brady with OC, Tuck, um, Strahan. Like, man, they had some guys on that D line, man, that was just like relentless pressure. We seen great fronts across the board, but just pass rush. I don't know. I don't know if you got a rebuttal to that, but that's the nicest I've seen since that Giant squad.
I mean, that's
In
really
a
far
playoff
back.
run. Excuse me,
I mean,
but in a playoff run, brother. I'm sorry
that
if I didn't
that
make that clear.
that's way too far back. Broncos, I would argue, were even better than them.
Broncos was kind of one guy with Vaughn, and then it was just a complete defense. I thought that defense
no,
was complete.
because no,
But DeMarcus
because
is on that team, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
and
I just thought it was a
then
prime Vaughn with a complete defense around him.
well, Vaughn had one-on-one. That's why you couldn't double because you had Demarcus Ware, and then you had Malik Jackson on the inside, and then you had Shane, right after that. Like I would like that Broncos defense and that pass rush with what they did, like that was historic. So I think you're going back a little bit too far.
I don't
Obviously
think that was
49.
as deep, brother. I don't think that was as deep.
They weren't
I
as
like
deep, but
that
they were as
defense though,
but
and
they
I
were
think
every bit
I
as
like that more as a complete whole defense. But pass rush, I don't think that was that deep.
they weren't as deep, but those guys that just played, they were more dominant than anything that I'd seen at that time. They were
For sure.
single-handedly carried that team to a Super Bowl.
No, for sure. Don't
That's
forget about your boy Harris in the back end. They had to lead. They had some talent, man. Ward. They had some
No, I
talent. That was a
mean,
good
no, I mean,
defense.
like, no, like the defense carried them, but those guys up front,
For sure. Who else?
that's
Anybody else off the top that you can think of? Pass rush. Aaron Donald had another amazing year. A couple playoff runs last year,
I
but
mean,
that was just
honestly,
more him.
the 49ers back in, what was that, 2019, they
Yeah,
were pretty
17.
awesome.
Yeah, yep. 19.
I mean,
Yep.
yeah, so you're going back a little bit too far. I mean, you guys are great, but I think you're just going back too far, honestly. Like, you guys are definitely up there, but it's tough to say. You guys are deeper. You guys are definitely like the deepest, I'll say that.
For sure.
But
Let's
impact, like, it's all like on par. You guys might be higher, but like it's all like on par. I'll say that.
Before we move on to what we think the Niners need to add, just to piggyback on something else you said earlier, I agree, man. Jalen, I I gotta embrace him at this point. I love my guy, man. All year and last
Mhm.
year, it's kind of been a love, but not a like, but don't really love type thing. I couldn't fully embrace him. My guy took my team to a championship, man. I fully embraced the young man. QB1, I definitely love him. But my
I
guy's
mean,
not healthy, man. It's clear. It's clear and apparent because it looks really last year-ish as far as his ball placement and accuracy.
mhm.
I can definitely it doesn't look, especially his deep ball doesn't have the touch that it had all year, this last game and a half or game or two. But really hoping, really for both sides, just for it to be a good, clean Super Bowl. The Bengals, we're about to touch on it in a second. The Bengals and the Chiefs, it ended up being solid towards the end, but even then it was some controversy. I don't believe we really got the great championship weekend games that we were owed and due, brother. So hopefully for the Super Bowl's sake, that these 2 weeks off can heal up Jalen. It can also heal up Pat.
Uh, I mean, I love the AFC Championship game. Like, that one was still a classic to me. I mean, this one was just a wash because of what happened to Brock Purdy, but um, that's it. I don't have much more on this game. The Eagles took care of business, and they were very, very deserving.
Got you, brother. It's some other spots probably, but let's start here with quarterback, man. What do the Niners do from here? I'm hearing a lot of reports. Purdy's the starter coming into the offseason. Purdy's not the starter. They're looking at Tom. They're looking at Derek Carr. What do you think the Niners should do at the quarterback position next season?
I
And
mean, it's tough.
my before I cut you off, sorry to cut you off. My last point to this, I believe our window's a little longer, my Eagles, because we got a mixture of young and older talent that's from the last Super Bowl run. This Niners team, I definitely believe, is like in the last year to two window, brother, because of the physicality that they play with, especially their offensive weapons. Debo, Kittle, and C-Mac all get hurt. Defenses usually have a smaller window than the offenses. Um, just in general. So I really think they need to, and they kind of did it this year when they made the moves for C-Mac, but I think they need to go all in and get a durable quarterback, man, because availability is a key component in NFL football.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I really have no idea. That's gonna be probably one of the five biggest questions of this offseason. Because this is a team that's very capable of going and winning the whole thing. I'm just gonna say this. I believe Purdy will get the first opportunity and he'll get the first team reps if he's healthy enough by training camp. And then Trey Lance will get every opportunity to take that job from him. Um, I believe Jimmy Garoppolo is not in the picture, so we can just disregard him. Um, should they bring in Brady? I mean, if they draft offensive line to shore it up because they have some guys that are free agents, it wouldn't be an awful move. Brady, he's not anywhere what he was, but his arm is still great. And if you can protect him, that's the biggest thing, because that's been the biggest thing over the last probably 4 or 5 years. If you can protect him, he can still dice you up. But That's a tough one, honestly. I just think Brock, he gets the first opportunity, and then if he shits just his pants, then who knows?
But you don't think so? Even outside of Brady, so I want to see it. To be honest, I want to see Brady there, but I think they're kind of 4 years late with it. I think they should have pulled that trigger a few years ago. Kyle's offense, it is a lot of play action, kind of QB on the move, a lot in that offense. Doesn't I won't say require mobility out of the quarterback, but it's nice to have it in that offense. Not saying Brady can't run it, but I just feel like it's a few years past its time for that move. Even though I would like to see it as a storybook ending for Brady, but dude, I believe they should be in the market, brother. Like a guy like Carr, man. I mean, shit, he doesn't get hurt. Besides that 1 year where he broke his fibula and he took his team to the playoffs, he missed the playoff game. He doesn't really get hurt. They need to find let's be realistic. Durability is a skill in the NFL,
No, it
really in
is.
all
No, it is.
professional sports. And they brother, these guys are getting older, man, on both sides of the ball. Like they have to find a guy that can stay healthy. This kid Purdy, yeah, nice lightning in a bottle, but shit, got hurt in 7 games.
I mean, I would love to see Carr in a functional environment, because he definitely deserves that. But it's just hard to say. And again, people in that organization, they wanted Trey Lance for a reason. So even if you bring in somebody else, he's going to get every opportunity. Even if Purdy gets first team reps, or even if you bring in Brady, like honestly, like it doesn't even matter who. Trey Lance is still going to get every opportunity to start. And like I said, when he got hurt, this was an opportunity for him to really break down film of his mechanics, especially his lower half. He still has ability, and if he can tie those things together, who knows? But I, your guess is as good as mine. I
So I
truly
don't
believe.
disagree with that point because I believe they should and have to give Trey those opportunities and chances, right? Because it will make them look even more foolish and dumb because all the draft capital they put in to get Trey, brother. But my question back to you is if they did, you just heard what I said as far as how I feel about Trey. I think he should still get those opportunities. But if they get a veteran guy, Derek Carr, a Tom Brady, I'm all in with sitting Trey ass for another year. I don't give a fuck. He can sit. He can sit because I'm going all in. So my question back to you is, what are you doing if you're the GM? Am I giving these young guys a chance to duel it out? Purdy's leading the ones. Trey has every opportunity to take it, or are you looking at it as, fuck, man, I have a Super Bowl ready-made roster. We've been to 3 championship games in the last like 4 or 5 years. We haven't won a fucking Super Bowl. These windows aren't open for long, brother. What are you
No,
doing?
I'm with you, but I'll just say this: no matter if you bring in a vet or not, and if you do, great, Carr, Brady, because or Rodgers, like those are just like the 3 names that people believe that'll be on the market. Even if you do, um, you let the players dictate who's starting, because at the end of the day, like for performance, like the players know like who's better. And that way you still give Trey every opportunity. And if he can't do it, he can't do it. And you try to trade him. And hopefully you get a second or a third for him, because people did like him. So
Got you. All right, man. Let's move on. Let's talk about the Chiefs and the Bengals, man. Another heavyweight duel brawl between these two teams, man. I think every game come down to one possession, right, brother?
3 points every
Yeah,
game.
man, this is crazy. 23-20, right? Chiefs took this one at
Mm-hmm.
home, had on one leg. By the end of the game, was dishing out to 4 fifth string receivers with 1 tight end left, and Kelsey was even a little hobbled at that point. Man, this goes down in Patrick's. This is a legacy game for Patrick right here, Patrick Mahomes, man. Brother, what did you see from this game?
Magic. I mean, I didn't expect anything less. That's just what he's dude. He's magic. I've just run out of things to say. Both of his touchdowns are awesome, because that back shoulder to Kelsey, the Bengals covered it perfectly because he was running a corner, and they did it on the fly. Kelsey stopped, and Patrick just threw that back shoulder laser. And it's just, and then that last one to Scantling, running up in the pocket, throws it off of his left leg, which is the wrong leg, and he throws a laser. And I didn't even think that Scantling caught that. I thought Mike Hilton broke it up.
Oh God.
Like I genuinely did not believe that he caught that ball. And then I see him get up with the ball, and I was like, oh my God, he actually got it in. He's just amazing. And then the other point I want to say is, I said this, Chris Jones took this game personally last year. And I also made the point, Buffalo's has nobody in their defensive line that's like him. And when you're playing backup offensive lineman, Chris Jones did exactly what he should have done. And he looked like he did all year, which is one of the three front runners for for winning defensive player of the year. He took over that game. That was like, and the Chiefs' young players like McDuffie and
Man, those young
Watson.
guys.
That's what I
Yeah.
was telling you early in the year. I was like, they're gonna give up plays because they're young, and also I think McDuffie missed, I think 8 or 9 games this year too. So, but like they're getting better and better. So like, you don't, like, your offense and totality. Like, I know what the numbers say and all that. Are they better without Tyreek Hill? No. Mahomes is just awesome. But the trade with what it gave them was, this is the most well-rounded team that they've had. And though that trade is started to paying dividends, because last year, if they lost Snead, it was a wrap. I mean, so I don't have a lot more to say about him and that team. They're awesome. He's awesome. Um, Bengals did a great job. Um, sucks that their offensive line got hurt. They still need to invest in it anyways. But
Do they
honestly,
win this game if the offensive line is healthy?
I would say I don't, because I want to lean yes, just because I don't know if Chris Jones and the others do everything that they did. But I mean, I don't know. The way that he was playing, I don't think anybody could have stopped him. So it's hard for me to say. Especially with how the Chiefs were just losing bodies the entire night. Um, so who knows? But going on to the Bengals, Burrow is also amazing. Jamar Chase is amazing. T. Higgins is awesome. Those three can just make plays that not many people can make. And sorry, Cincy, you guys talked way too much, excluding Burrow
Man,
and Chase. It's funny. There's the actual superstars on that team. They didn't say shit, but it was the other guys that were talking like they were something. I mean, Mike Hilton's awesome, but
I'll
just
say
because he
I'll
didn't
say this:
corner.
they didn't shit the bed, and they still
No, they
came to
didn't.
play. So I'm not too mad at it. But you took the L, so you got it. You got to live
Yeah,
with what you said, and I agree. That's kind of why I think we both kind of flipped late.
yeah.
We both agreed the Bengals were the better team, but I thought they were just talking too much, man. And I was like, I just can't see Andy and Pat going on 4 straight losses to the team. I just couldn't
Yeah,
see it.
especially when you guys only went to one Super Bowl, and to be honest, you guys blew it.
Yeah,
You guys had the ball three times in the fourth quarter and punted on three of those drives, and you guys also gave up the game winning touchdown. So you guys blew it. So
for sure.
that was a lot of talking for a team that really had not accomplished much yet.
So, brother, you kind of touched on it already, but offensive line, what else do you think the Bengals need to invest in this offseason
Mm,
to help them get over the hump? Because they got 1 year, to be honest, this year coming up. After that, they're going to have to start paying some guys. T. Higgins
yeah,
may
they
be too
are.
expensive to keep on. So, hey, if I'm them, I'm pushing all my chips to the center of the table.
You want to know
What are you
something?
doing if you're the Chiefs GM? I mean, Bills GM or Bengals GM, excuse me.
Honestly, this is cold because he's a Bear native and he's been really good in this league, and it sucks because he's finally on a good team. Joe Mixon is a casualty at this point, and P. Ryan has more of a burst just because he hasn't been used as much. Because sadly for Joe, for all those years and since he was just running into brick walls and getting worn down. So he might be a casualty. Um, so honestly, you might have to cut him, and it's the offensive line. They have to they have to continue to invest in that. Maybe also get
The
another
corner.
corner, but they're pretty good like across the boards. So they really don't need much. It's really the offensive line. That's all I can really say.
Gotcha. I agree. You know, my thing. I'll say corner, man. Definitely got to get a corner. Let's move on. Got a couple minutes left here. Quick NFL news and hiring talks. Kellen Moore got released. Felt like it was kind of scapegoatish. Kind of try to
Yep.
blame it all on him, man, because he did have you got Dallas Cowboys as like the top 3, top 5 offensive ranked offense for the
Mhm.
last couple of years. But he gets released by Jerry and the crew and gets picked up by the Chargers in replace of Lombardi. I actually really like that fit. I really can't wait to see some nice things out of Herbert, Eckler, and Allen and the crew. What's your thoughts on the movement by Kellen Moore, brother?
I mean, look, when your $40 million quarterback isn't getting it done, someone's gonna have to pay for it. So look, did Kellen Moore have the most creative offense ever? No, but he had a very, very good offense, and it was player friendly, and they were able to execute it well. And they always were top five and honestly top three in offense the last three years. So that's not by accident. Look, the Cowboys still have talent. I won't say this is gonna be crushing, but Dak, your clock is officially starting to tick because the Cowboys aren't going to want to continue to pay you $40 million when you haven't demonstrated that you're able to carry them for any extended period of time. They thought that you could, and it's funny because they got rid of their known number one, similar to what Kansas City did, and obviously Mahomes is the MVP of the league, and Dak Prescott had a down year. I don't think it was as bad as what people said, but he definitely had a down year. So um, Chargers, great hire. I'm glad that Justin Herbert has actually has some help from a play calling perspective now. So that'll be very, very exciting to watch.
And Kellen's a young guy, man. I think he's only going to get better. He kind of really
Yeah,
only got better when he was in Dallas.
did.
And when you really look at it, every year they kind of stripped a weapon or two away from him when you really
He,
look at it, and he kept
he
getting
did.
better. Yeah, so I think he's going to do some wonderful things there, brother. Let me ask you this. So is McCarthy calling the plays, or are they getting a new OC? What you think?
I think he is calling the plays. I think that was kind of Jerry's way of saying, all right, something's got to change. And I always heard how you were this great play caller in Green Bay. So let's see it.
Got you. All right, and then last thing, guys. Like I said, we got 2 weeks here, so we're definitely gonna try to get you a couple pods in before the Super Bowl with our picks. But let's finish off here, brother. I'm hearing a lot of chatter around the Broncos job, man. Right now, it's looking like Harbaugh may be the leading candidate for that job, and I heard Sean Payton has removed himself out of
As he should.
contention. Yeah, contention for that job. Me and you both agreed Harbaugh is the better fit there. What do you think on Harbaugh? Do you think they get Harbaugh or land Harbaugh? And then two, do you think Sean Payton should just sit another year, see what plays out with Staley and the Chargers, or another landing spot? What do you think with those two things?
I think with the coaching, I think with the openings right now with this landscape, I would definitely just wait. Because like I said, McDermott, he's not on the hot seat, but his seat's getting warmer. Sean Payton's going to be very, very strategic with his next job, and there is a possibility for the Chargers, and there's a small possibility about the Bills also.
Or even the
Um,
Cowboys, right? If McCarthy flames out again.
I don't think I know there's still this infatuation with the Cowboys, but he's gonna want control, and I think he can manage Jerry, but I still don't think Jerry would just relinquish control to him.
Gotcha.
So as much as that's a fit, I do think that's more of an outside chance.
I
But
hope
at the
so.
end of the
Shit, I don't
day,
want to see Sean in my division.
yeah, but at the end of the day, I do think he'll end up sitting, and I think Harbaugh's a great fit because he can just turn stuff. He can just turn stuff around. It just sucks that the Broncos are a sleeping giant, but Russ is definitely a huge question mark.
Got you, man. I think that's everything we got, right, brother?
Yeah, that's it.
All right, man. Hey, appreciate you guys for listening in. We'll definitely have another podcast this week for you guys, okay? And hey, let's gear up for a nice Super Bowl. We got Andy versus old team, my Eagles. To be honest, I
Yeah.
really in my heart, I want my Eagles to win, brother. But I truly feel like I can't lose, man. Because a real Eagles, if you're a real certified Eagles fan like myself, you grew up off Andy Reid. Andy Reid is my coach for life. I'm sorry. Jim Johnson
Mhm.
is my defensive coordinator for life. Okay, that's how I was grown. That's how I grew up through football. That era of Philadelphia football. So I can't wait.
Last thing, Howie Roseman is definitely the best GM in the entire NFL, and it's not close.
Facts, man. All right, guys. Thank you.
Yeah.
We play for keeps, Cuddy. You ain't heard about the Huddle fire with no with D-Lane. We tryna get it off the muscle. Walters caught the pick and ran it back without a tussle. Blow the whistle, coach is trying to get back to the huddle.
Welcome to the